episode 5.
I think.
Ja.
Kijk even voor ons weer gaan. Hou die 20th September open. Because we're gonna raid area 51. Weet je nog nou? There's a petition. Dat allemaal like, I think 300,000 people signed it. Dus allemaal gaat like, weet je hoe gaan we daar komen?
Ja, so to the us now, we're going to pay for flights and stuff.
We don't have the money, but we're gonna fucking do it. Facebook had actually the post afgeremoved, like they say like, hey guys, I'm not gonna fucking do it. Die brasa stubborn dude. Then it's Kyle of is die eerste bra wat like gestaan het.
Who's Kyle?
Jesus, het begin met Joe Rogan's podcast, where they say that why don't like
With the interview Bob Lazar.
something like that, ja, een van die of een voor die.
Okay.
To praat to say, why don't like a moose, a lot of people just storm Area 51 and see what happens? And to then Kyle and say, massive basement. Let's fucking do this. And I'm all decided and whatever. Guy Fieri, I just say, I got the course map, I'm like,
for 300,000 people.
It's more, dude.
Okay, but kijk, but based on Facebook demographics now, you do know.
Yeah, nobody's gonna do it. I hope that nobody, but
say they're gonna stick out at an event.
Yeah.
Maybe 5 was in the
I
crowd.
have a frikskin doen. I have a frikskin.
That's my thing as well, because now obviously now the military or whatever knows that they're going to stick it. So now we're waiting for you.
There's a thingy on Facebook, what if? So I'll say, the other thing is the premise, what if it's really been done? They're really going to do it.
Yeah.
It's impossible because the roads that leads there, it's so long and it's going to be a queue to get there in the first place. So it's impossible really, man.
They're going to see you coming.
Anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, well, wasn't one of the other things is that they had to do the Naruto run?
Hey?
Do you know what the Naruto run is? It's like basically, it's just like Japanese way of running, man. Like in that you're doing.
I saw that.
Your Arab is behind you. You know, like the plumping was at the stick from the.
You see, I'm thinking, who the fuck are they ingepast? But don't make sense.
But also the other thing is like, there's Area 51, but it was like 52. There's various ones. So like, I mean, and like in the Bob Lazar interview,
He said he worked in S4.
It's 4 years. So now they are, like you also said, they don't hold everything in one place.
Yeah.
So you're gonna go storm. Do you know what you're looking for?
Dude, ek wil net 'n UFO hyster ry. So as 'n one-way ticket dat ek soon toe gaan koop. As ek dit kom, ek moet my UFO bra. So ek my bags op en wat.
Play West Coast music.
Miskien 'n lekker hot alien siek met fucking 4 tette. Miskien 8 oë. Dude, I'm sorted, bra. 2 monde. Good to go, bra.
Ain't nothing but a G thing.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Nice cut, bra.
So yeah, let's get to it. Topics for today. The shutdown that happened recently in Cape Town. We're gonna discuss that. Yeah. Second topic, the Antwoord. The Antwoord put out some footage recently.
Or was it actually from him or was it a third party?
As a third party.
The third party. Okay, so the third party put out footage of the Antwoord. We'll be tackling that as well. But does that include the docu that they're busy with as well?
I think the guy did the docu. He's the one that put it out.
Oh, okay. So
yeah.
And then this past week there was this contentious issue on social media about the top 50 MCs or rappers of all time, but it was stateside. And then we put out our own, or should we say Joburg put out their own. So we'll be discussing that as well, both stateside and both the other side as well. So yeah, let's hit the road running. The shutdown. So yeah. So apparently they closed a couple of roads and stuff like that. You need to school me now because I only heard about the shutdown yesterday.
They are saying that we as colored people, we need land. And I think what Farid is saying, just give us the land. Also, he's about basically.
Okay.
This topic really started. I wouldn't say started, but I started seeing that this is going to create a problem when was it, like 4 years ago? Um, Dan Plato, was it Dan Plato? Ja,
Dan
hy was
Plato.
hier, nee, hy was hier in die Gussie Park geweest, basically. En toen moet allemaal die rights by hom, die mense was nou allemaal whatever, moet uitsteek en basically praat saam met hom. My problem was geweest, die major problem was, wat ek voor gegaan het, was die roads, wat so fucked up is.
Ja.
En title was it the Princess Flight ding. I wanted
Ja,
clear
ja.
information on that.
Ja.
I kan me nie gegee het whatever nie, but one thing that struck me, there was two people that there was a group of people. They've got a cricket team to teach the youth.
Ja.
En hulle wil gehad het geallocated hier by Princess Flight, by die begrafplaas.
Ja.
Van hulle gehad het, daar moet part van die field moet geallocate word vir die ladies.
Okay.
En wat hulle problem was, hulle het gesê, we gee die land vir ons nou, van ons wil die ladies se lewens save, because
Yeah.
either you're going to give us the land for this, or you're going to have to bury that ladies on the ground.
Ja.
Anyway, in the meantime, toe daar baie mense weer complain oor die backyard dwellers, whatever.
Ja.
En die een goes het nog gesê, ja, maar sy complain oor veld, ons het regte problems, man. So I could see this is it's not in my life immediately. So ek sien nie die problem as so groot nie, because but then I started seeing it, and then I started realizing, oh fuck, this is actually a huge problem, you know what I'm saying? En toe het vader nou op social media gekom, hy is weer waar ek vir hom gesien het weer, en he started mobilizing everybody.
Okay.
Sy tactics is 'n bietjie baie weird, because hy vloek sommer die mense uit, like so, man, hy en Brian, somebody, het ook nog 'n moeise argument gehad op Facebook.
Eben?
Ja, hulle het ook 'n back and forth gehad die altyd.
Okay.
Which is sad, because hulle is both brilliant minds, but het kom terug, ons kan het mense, ons supposedly kan nie saam staan nie, whatever. But this bra seems to be doing a good job.
Okay.
And I actually thanked him yesterday for say, so he, before the shutdown, he went to every spot, whatever, like Ocean View, Parkwood,
Yeah.
en some of those meetings het saam hulle, en net vir almal gesê, kyk, op die dag gaat ons nou basically 'n shutdown het.
Okay.
No stoning of cars, no damaging of
Vehicles or
vehicles, whatever.
Wat
But on tire,
Yeah.
say you can't blame us for the tire brand, see. But
Yeah.
that's my was protest anyway. And yeah, it was fruitful, because apparently the Human Rights Commission het gesê hulle gaan 'n summit hê op die dinge se. So basically they overstepped, because the local government is not fucking doing anything.
Yeah.
So he's saying he wants to go back home. His people wants to go back home. Hulle wil Plumstead toe gaan trek, hulle wil Kaap toe trek, hulle wil Constantia toe. You know, that's so that's basically everything in a nutshell. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
So it sounds like a preemptive strike in terms of land expropriation, or like at least land restitution in our case, because Cape Town was the first spot where, and amongst many other areas in South Africa, where the Group Areas Act displaced us and dumped us onto the Cape Plus and to various other locations deemed fit for the people of at least of color to stay. I know there's a lot of issues on Facebook regarding Fadiel's tactics or the Gatwal Capetonian movement, but at the end of the day, he is doing something.
Yeah.
I think us as colored people have a tendency to want to sit on the fence and wait until something actually happens. This is people that's actually going out and mobilizing and doing shit. Whether you agree with the tactics or the manner of speaking, I think we've spoken enough. I think we've spoken for hundreds of years as descendants of the Khoisan, mixed people of Cape Town, so-called coloreds. We've demanded rights. We've demanded rights in the struggle under the UDF, ANC Youth League, ANC itself, for the betterment of all. And I think we're in this weird space where you see coloreds, so-called coloreds, coconuts, gatgrypers, people that's more in tune with, oh, let's just keep the peace. Like, what did white people do to you? It's like, that was in the past, that was their forefathers. It's like, I don't want to go into deep in like in terms of like white entitlement and shit like that.
I think we've gone over that.
We've gone over that.
Yeah.
But it's good to see that there is action being taken, there is movement being made to address these issues by any means necessary, because we can't keep talking. The Human Rights Commission is going to call a summit. And what is a summit going to be? It's like a bunch of fucking talking. Another 2 years, a resolution that ultimately gets put to the side when something else happens. So I think we need action. We need action now. We need a clear course of action. Because as you said, the current incumbent government in the Western Cape is doing nothing to address these issues. I think a couple of years back when Patricia de Lille had a Backyard Summit meeting in Manenberg, she ended up swearing at the people.
Serious?
Yeah. Told people to foot sack. Now, that was the then mayor of Cape Town.
Can I just read this out? The city of Cape Town has laid criminal charges relating to incitement of violence against the leader of Shutdown Movement, Fadil Adams. Mayor Committee member of Safety and Security, JP Smith, says they also laid a charge of crime injuria and defamation of character against him. This follows widespread protest in several areas in the metropole yesterday, where residents demanded houses. So various roads were closed, and police used tear gas and stun grenades. That was in Fort Ricker Road.
Yeah.
Peaceful, by the way. Peaceful, by the way, to disperse crowds in Kensington. Smith says the city has not given notice. We're not giving notice about the protests. So they are basically shutting him down. So they say as a right vir hom te vloek in 'n meeting in, want hy het gesê basically jou ma se goed is vir as a JP Smith. So now this is a tactic. But say no, you're gonna silence this bra because hy kry reg nou. You know what I'm saying?
You see also like something you said about colored people, and when it comes to movements and stuff like that, I feel like if we've been so conditioned over the years that if it is not the way we feel it should be, if it's not in line with like, will our white counterparts be okay with it? Will our black counterparts be okay with it? Not thinking about like, is this really what we want?
Yeah.
And when a certain group of our people see a protest action happening that is not within the confines of what they feel is okay, then it's almost like it's an issue. But you're right, it's like at least he started something, at least he went and done something. Where the others is just like sitting on the side, we're going to wait to join in on something if it's within our paradigm. I find that a lot, and it's like
Chicken, another reason why people don't like him is because he went on SABC2 or whatever, and the news, and said he wants all people that wasn't born, that didn't live in pre-94 or post-94, must move back, basically. If you moved after 94 to the Western Cape, you must move back. So now they're saying he's racist and whatever. A friend of mine, actually, his status was, a colleague actually, his status was, this guy is not about unity and you fight the system with unity. But ek het 'n comment van hom gesê, but what if the system itself is not fighting with us by the same rules? As soos hy wat my gesê het, ons het 'n conversation hier dat gesê het, by seeing the younger generation, they don't see color really the way we do. Because we still hold the grudge. We can say what we want to, but we still have it, and it's understandable. It's understandable. The older generation obviously more, because they've seen more than what we have. He might not see color, but once he goes out in the real world, they're gonna see his color basically.
exactly.
But here's the thing: I was listening to the Breakfast Show. Good up in what's her name? Dan. Dan Porter. Hy het 'n valid point gemaak, man. En die ding is, hy's in 'n position om my point te maak. Hy het gesê baie mense, first of all, hy het just having the discussion on the platform for me was fuck. It was guts of him and the team. Baie mense gesê, why must they get houses? They want to feel privileged. Why must they be privileged? But his point of view was, kyk hier dudes, man. Isn't it privilege for me to have been born from white parents and being in a house that was okay,
Yeah.
in a house, whatever.
Yeah.
He says he works hard for what he has, but he's at a better footing.
Yeah.
And all these people are saying is, dude, give also die footing wat julle het, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's like wasn't like I had a discussion yesterday, and this is like totally off that topic, but the discussion was along the lines of there are certain people that are born into poverty that live in that poverty and die in that poverty. They don't get presented another opportunity. Then you get people that are born into wealth, live in wealth, and die in wealth.
Yeah.
You know, it's he's the guy. His privilege was that he was born. He just happened to have that opportunity to be born in that specific family or in that specific setting, environment, whatever. A lot of people don't have that. So that's a good point.
Just coming back to the the part that you read off now. I think it's pretty fucked up because there's been so much protest happening throughout the Western Cape. And this is the first instance I'm staying corrected, but the first time I'm hearing of charges of criminal injury being put on anybody. I mean, if you look at the stonings on the R300 and people burning in the townships, what criminal charges are ever taken against that? I
Exactly,
mean,
yeah.
motorists get stoned, killed, buses get burnt out. I think Golden Arrow is running at a loss of approximately 20 million rand a year in terms of bus vandalism. So I never see charges, never hear of
but
the city taking such a stance.
Hey, JP's a feeling here, man.
But that's fine because it's about time he's accountable. His specific portfolio in terms of safety and security, like we said before, as a joke, as a mockery, the army is out on the Cape Flats doing what? Clapping people.
I saw that tuck, yeah.
That's at the cuck.
What was it? What was it? One plaque on the show, but was the soldiers got the guns taken off at knife point.
No, some also like there was like
That-
a running joke.
Nah, man.
The army truck, one army truck is towing the other army truck because somebody stole the car battery. It's a battery.
Is it confirmed really? Because a lot of people
I
are
don't know.
saying,
We don't know. We don't know.
Speculation, jokes aside, whatever.
Yeah.
But for me, it's it's just you're scared to take action against is it close townships,
Yeah.
but against Scarlet townships, you wanna take action. When people in Parkwood started erecting shacks and in Ottery and all over, when colored people started erecting shacks or informal structures on open pieces of land, they were immediately met with the police. The stuff was torn down. If you drive down Baden Powell now, the new extension of Khayelitsha has taken over a lot of that beachfront, and absolutely jack shit gets done. So it seems that, in a sense, as so-called colored people, we are not allowed to be too militant. We just have to play along and just accept the bullshit we're getting fed and the situations we are.
let's not say militant, let's say organized.
Yeah, well,
Organized, because militant means,
Yeah.
let's watch the language, because militant gives you an idea of
actually
violence.
weaponizing it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Which is not the case.
It's not the
Because
case.
I see the group is there.
The group isn't like that. But I mean, even for Buddhists, we have to come to that point where we actually have to stand up and in order to be taken seriously, to take that route.
Nah,
Because I'm not saying
No,
that.
no, not-
We're not
with that,
propagating that and we're not promoting it. But I'm saying it's like how much more must we as colored people take from the city? The housing projects, the Cape Flats, those buildings, those flats were not designed to last for more than 60 years.
And you can see that.
yeah,
You can see
giving them a facelift now by changing the plumbing or painting it, it's doing jack shit. Those places still have asbestos roofs.
Sure.
Yeah.
So what change are you actually bringing about? Are you actually creating new developments with it besides the likes of Pelican Park being built? That's just a small drop in the ocean in terms of relieving the housing pressure. People have
also-
been on the like the backyard dwellers thing. People have been on the waiting list for over 30 years and not received it. So in our lifetimes, are we actually going to get RDP houses? And I think that comes back to Fadil's point that he brought about in terms of, and I don't think it was meant to be racist, but I can't speak for his part. When he said people that weren't born here prior or didn't come here prior to 1994 have to go back,
Yeah.
was because of the strain that they're bringing in. Yes, Cape Town, a lot of people migrate to the major cities to seek employment, but at the same time, are they getting houses before the people that are grown here,
Yeah,
or born here, who've now been systematic, they've been years having to live in backyards of family properties and other people's properties. coupled with that, the fact that I think the Cape Town's rental income, there needs to be some form of rental tribunal because the cost of renting a property is equivalent to paying a bond.
Yeah.
And you can't get a bond unless you're earning close to 30,000 Rand. For
That's
a
how,
decent
how they
salary.
keep us out also.
Yep.
But I mean, that is how
Out
they
of
keep us
certain
out.
areas.
So we're forced now to either go live in informal structures or pay exorbitant rent. So where the hell do we get to that equal footing? Or to have that little bit of a head start in life? Because Kiki, we all want a decent house. We all want good education for our kids. We all want to prosper and just to be able to retire and be able to live. But it's been made so hard. It's like all these things that are coming across. Now you're faced with this. Oh no, fuck! Now the water bills are increasing. Now electricity is increasing. It's like how the fuck we supposed to survive? And it's still use for most people who have to take public transport. Up to 30% of your salaries goes towards traveling. So you spend close to 2 hours stuck in traffic or on the trains when they decide to run, which inconveniently also get burnt because the DA wants to take over the price line.
Speculation.
Contentious.
Yeah.
No, they do want to take it over. They put in a plan
No,
to
that,
take over
that's
the
scum.
train lines. But now, why is it all of a sudden because they want to do it? Why is there so much arson attacks on trains?
That
Yeah,
is, you
this-
can't confirm that.
Yeah.
Speculation.
Look,
Speculation.
the
either you
speculation
have
is both ways. The speculation is that, like, yeah, before the local elections, the last one they passed now, the speculation was that the ANC wants to make the province ungovernable.
to- Yeah.
Now, with you saying that, that does make sense as well. That, like, you know what, maybe the DA is behind it, but it's all speculation. I mean, until
But in any
confirmed.
event, it's like we're supposed to be going towards first world status.
Conspiracy theory.
It's- Call me Mr. X.
Look, also on what's on sorry about you, on Fagil's thing, and the yeah, with what you just read early on with JP Smith and whatever.
That was quite by the way. No?
It's always said that, like, when people get shut down for certain things, then you're on the right track.
Yep.
Like you actually pulling the nerve, you hitting a nerve, man.
Yeah.
So he might be hitting a nerve, and they just want to, like, you know, silence him or mute him quickly.
Maar kijk, you wanted to say before the you go the militant way with violence and that. The other thing is the elections was nou net kort. Hoekom het die het mense nie gevot in die regte direction nie? Hulle het nog altyd gevot vir daai mense. So
Here we
they-
go again.
you know what I'm saying? So
De draad zit er nog.
as a
But-
draad,
but-
it's a
but
mentality. You
That's
know what I'm
what
saying?
I was also going to touch on. The only way that we stand up as a people is if we get the conditioning out of a fucking air.
Yeah.
So the thing is that if we're gonna constantly, and when I mean we, like, in general, if we as a so-called colored community are constantly going to look at, like make the comment of, like, but I was better in apartheid under the apartheid government. So you put it up, you are upholding that people or that group of people. If you constantly look at them as being better than the people that are in government now, then they have, like, godlike status in your mind. Once you take that out, then you will see them for who they are. Then you will see, like, you know what, but fuck them. We need to look at our people. We need to mobilize. Then that happens. Until that, you will say now. I will tell you now, like Nantel, yeah, I'm there. Tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock, I'm there. We're going to be in front of Parliament. And stick a Katie. Because overnight, my mind is going to play games and be like, nah, man, but you know what? It wasn't that bad.
If I ever had an
Can't afford
area
to have a
53,
charge
then-
against my name.
Exactly, all that stuff. No. At the end of the day, I know what you mean with militant and stuff like that. But I also said a while ago that order only comes from chaos. And I'm going to stick to that.
But seriously, dude, ek dink nie that is
It's not a nice thing, man. It's not a nice way to go about
yeah,
things.
I don't think that ek sal nou steeds say, guys, that is not the route that I see and hope that
No,
that's gonna go.
There is another way there is another way that that we can get to the same destination. And I think we spoke about in a previous episode, where if we can see each other for like, man, if you can take away the color barrier, if you can take away the affluency, if you can take away the social status and all that things, you can see somebody for a human being.
Just the soul, dude.
Exactly, and that's like, I don't know if you watched the movie The Best of Enemies. Taraji P. Henson, she is this lawyer. It's set back in Ku Klux Klan time, so they're in Virginia or somewhere there, and the whole Western, the judges all is white, but she represents the African American or the black community, their plights in court. She's a lawyer. Long story short, the guy that she's up, or this black guy, they send him to the community because he has to pick out individuals out of the white side of the community and the black side of the community and sit them together in a hall or in the room together, like over a number of periods of time, and they have to sort out the differences. She gets paired with the leader of the Ku Klux Klan.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah, but he's got a Down syndrome child that needs a private room at the hospital. But he doesn't have enough money to get him a private room, so he's basically in a ward with other patients as well. His wife, and he's the owner of a gas station. His wife said, "We can afford the private room if you put in gas for the whole community, but you don't. You're only filling up the gas of your white customers."
Yeah.
Because he's the leader of the Ku Klux Klan. I can't want to put in gas into a black person's car. Anyway, as this whole mediation is going on, Taraji P. Henson, her character, finds out that he has this kid, but he can't pay to put his child into a private ward. She goes to the hospital. She pays the extra money so that the child can be in there. He finds out. He goes off on her. She tells him, and this is the point I'm trying to make, where she basically tells him, "You are just as poor as me. You might be white, but you're just as poor as me." That's where you get to see now, like, human for human, soul for soul. You know, it's like, it's nothing about like your color, status, affluence, whatever. So if we get to that point, then we don't need to be mothered. But the people in power is not willing to sit. That's the thing. It's like they see the people that's protesting, peaceful protest,
Peaceful, dude.
they see that as a threat. A threat to what? To your existence? To your, what you call it, your
And the beauty of it, these protests, a lot of people said like, yeah, we are burning our own communities. Fair enough. But the reaction would have been 10 times worse had we taken those protests and blocked off the likes of Constantia, Bishop's Court.
Ik wil nogal,
Etc.
that was my only gripe that I have with it. Why don't they do the M3
yeah.
like they would do the M5? That was my only gripe that I had, but it's probably logistics also, man. Because
You have to get there.
block the area where you live close to. Because the Ocean View, it was the Comedy gehandeld.
Yeah.
Pago die gehandeld. So I can understand that.
Look,
nobody lives that side.
yeah, but
but I
also-
would have loved it to inconvenience them as well.
You know, what could also, I always say also, like, you hit him with the pockets hurt. You know, if the only people that's going to get local government to wake up is local business. The manpower for local business is the people from the Cape Flats, predominantly. If those people don't show up to work, there's no work going out. There's no turnover happening. That will be a direct complaint to local government. So if you shut down your WhatsApp, you shut down your community, you tell nobody's going to work, and you use force even, let's just say they use force, because that's probably going to happen. But you use force to let nobody go to work. Yes, that person's probably not going to get paid. And there could be WhatsApp. I'm not saying that using this as a suggestion, but I'm just saying, like, if that should happen, instead of a normal person that is maybe unemployed, doesn't have is a backyard dweller, whatever, complaining to local government like this protest now. Local government can look at it like, just brush it off. But when businesses, their bottom line are affected on a daily basis, they're going to go to the local government.
But-
Local government is going to listen to them
But
because
the
they are
thing
bigger
that-
fish
that-
in the pond.
Who's the major sponsor of the DA? Hoe moet ik nou sê die local government hierso by ons? Aren't they, isn't that like the true masters? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
the
but
economic powers that be.
the economic changes, but when I'm talking about local business here, I'm not talking about your small business. I'm talking about like your
big
engines,
brands, yeah.
your net banks, your standard banks, the influx of people that go into the CBD every single morning to go work, and not just the CBD, but your Goodwoods and whatever, wherever.
Well, the same community is actually like powering the city of Cape Town because that's majority
Yes.
colored and African staff.
So at the end of the day, those engines and net banks and standard banks and BP and whatever, they're gonna be on the local government's door. Like, look, something is happening. You need to sort it out. Now, yes, my thing is this: you can't fire everybody because then you have to start from scratch. But it's just something I thought. It just came to mind.
The other thing is that worries me, but not worries me. Just I think about it a lot. Is who's funding Gatvol, and does he have a normal job, or how does that work? Because I'm just scared that he's able
You
to
might have
fund.
another
You know what I'm
agenda or
saying?
There might be somebody else behind it. Just one thing before I forget. I think it was a year or two ago when with all the farm murders where they had a protest where they blocked off the N2. Was any action taken against them? Because I just want to go tit for tat here. Because if I'm looking at now criminal injury charges being leveled against Fadil and the Gatvol movement and the community activists, because it wasn't just Fadil alone. It was a community standing up and saying, we are Gatvol.
Yeah.
We want.
But they're trying to
Justice, we
sever
want
their head
justice.
now. They're
Yeah.
trying to sever their head now.
But the
Always
thing is,
like
like, at this point in time, I think there should be multiple heads. It shouldn't just be a case
There
of.
is actually because Paul Wood in the inpost wat ek hulle gestuur het.
Yeah, the one
Die
video he does,
producer sy
he
werk
mentions
gedoen.
all the
Ja, hy mentions
key people.
Shout out to
in
the
case.
producer.
I just need another one. Yeah, he mentioned all of them because I would love to get him in, and once we obviously have guests in, it would be a fucking interesting podcast, dude.
No,
Yeah,
that's-
Fadil.
Or even like the guy from Parkwood, whatever,
Parkwood, okay.
can possibly organize that. But I mean, let's
Yeah.
see. Hopefully
yeah,
we can
yeah.
get people in.
Yeah, I think also like I don't know if we want to close this topic now, but I feel also like for our community, like this is not the first time that something like this has happened. Maybe not to the scale, but I feel also that like how many more before we actually get a seat at the table?
Yeah.
You know, because we don't have a seat at the table. We are a lot of our community. They have their lineage in the first people of this land,
Yeah.
and yet they don't have a seat at this table. It's a big issue because it's like at the end of the day, would we even be part of this beautiful place's history?
Yeah. I think also that boils down to the fact that the Cape Town mayor selection of late seems to think that if they put a person of color as the mayor, that's going to placate us as colors.
No.
Quite frankly, since Dan Plato has taken over from Patricia de Lille, I'd see absolutely no change. If anything, the voice of this province is JP Smith. And it's not Dan Plato because he's not doing a damn thing. We're not hearing anything. We're not seeing him on the ground. But all the action seems to come back to JP. So it makes me wonder who's actually running the city of Cape Town.
Might be behind the scenes. It's just like, you know what, you're just the face, but that's
You're just the face, but the actual power and decisions is made here by safety and security.
yeah. Anyway,
On to the later topic.
Away man.
Where to next?
Away man.
Look.
the Antwoord and cultural appropriation. Can I start?
From my point of view, no, the cultural appropriation thing, I think that we are taking a tool that can basically bring races together
Unify.
and unify us, and we or soek foute, man. Because the thing is, what we don't realize is everybody guns the white person in like say Eminem, but nobody guns the bra behind him, the black bra behind him, like in Eminem's case, it's
Dr. Dre.
Dr.
Dre,
Dre, um, T.I. was what's her name,
Iggy Azalea.
Iggy Azalea in that regard, man. So yeah, I don't see a problem with white people.
Okay, but now specifically with this topic now, we're looking at the Antwoord and the N-word and their cultural appropriation as to what they have taken and also the use of the N-word. They feel they can use it.
I think with the Antwoord is with them, it goes to beyond what I just said now. If it was just that, it would be okay. But the thing is, they are obviously using the image
Yeah.
to the detriment of our people, basically.
Well, look, if we had looked at the clips that have surfaced recently, like where it shows the racist slants or rants against both black and Asian people, and I think in the one live performance where they actually call, like say, where Yolandi saying, get this bra off the stage, fuck off you black, you swat nai. I mean, Kiki, that whatever else they're using the N word in that context because it's used a lot in hip hop and is seen as a colloquialism between practitioners of hip hop to say it as like, more of a camaraderie thing than a derogatory term. But then backed up by that live performance in that context makes me say like, yeah, Kiki, this means have come into our community, our colored community, taken some of the top colored underground MCs, hardcore rappers, appropriated the culture, the style of rhyming, Afrikaans. They've taken on the colored gang signs, tattoos, the personas, chopped themselves out with that. They portray what's the thing that Kim Possible always does, 27, Bloedmark 2 and kak like that. So they're perpetuating gang culture, which is why we have the army on the Cape Flats today, is because of the rising gang killings and the rampant disregard for human life. And my issue with appropriation can be a positive tool where it breaks barriers, but in this case, where it's used in a negative context and also the monetizing of cultural appropriation is where they've created a product, they've taken it overseas, they've created a brand around it, clothing line, movies, soundtracks, CDs, whatever, based on that. So they might not necessarily be on where they started off initially with the SOS album in 2009, but where they are now, and all the shit that's coming out of them as people, like a lot of they're losing a shitload of fans, homophobic slurs, racial slurs, and it's just making me wonder, Kiki, all these people writing it. Some of these hardcore fans like thinking these people like Tikkopo, because that's the way they're going, and they're going like little lighties, looking for attention all the time. So in a sense, if using the Antwoord as a mirror compared to Johnny Clegg, worlds apart. It's like the positivity that was brought about by Johnny Clegg. And I did say, like, I know somebody mentioned online that there was a lot of other established Zulu artists at the same time, they came out at the same time, brilliant musicians, but didn't get quite the same traction as Johnny Clegg did. Because now we need to look at it when a white person adopts another culture or personality, do they get more traction out of that than the actual artists
We have to look at the buying power.
at the buying power?
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah,
Yeah.
because you can't blame the artists because who's going to buy it? Yeah, if white people buy albums and they're going to buy his album, then
Yeah.
you can't blame the artist really.
But is it a novelty factor? And I guess the one question is, how does the artist then give back to the community he's taking from? Is it impacting positively, or is it just perpetuating
Yeah,
the money cycle? Because if you're looking at the calculated net worth between the Antwoord, Yolandi, and the actual group sitting at 13 million rand, not
No, that's
13
$13
million dollars, $13 million. That's a shitload of money. But do we see any difference in the artists they've worked with or used to create this pathway? Have they actually impacted their lives in a positive aspect where they can still eat from the proceeds of the initial SOS album, etc. Even though that album was released freely on the internet,
Okay.
but subsequently, based on that,
Yeah, that's where
an
that.
empire was created.
Yeah.
Here's the thing also, if you the imagery that they use, right? You would say that they won with the Noma and the colored people type of thing.
But it's
But the thing is, if you were one with, you wouldn't. There's someone who got scale, some bra of color, so and so the
Exactly.
lady. Even the footage where the bra loop and say, "Are we is this cap or something like that?" Something like that. You won't really. It won't come up. It won't be an issue really.
I think it's a mockery, man. It's a mockery of that culture. So if you even if you look at the way the chappies is on what's name on Ninja as well, it's not to say that-
Cartoonized as well.
exactly. It's not like it's like for like, but it is a mockery of that. But at the same time, it's a mockery of it. You're taking something that, like you mentioned, it's a reality for people on the Cape Flats, and you now have taken that, monetized it, ran with that whole concept, but nobody is seeing. You're not coming back and plowing that back in, you know. So yeah, that for me is an issue. That's cultural preparation at its best. I do feel like a lot of times when people use the industry plant, what's name, like I always mention, yeah, the industry plant terminology. Um, a lot of times that gets loosely used, where what we just mentioned now with the buying power. If the buying power is of that color, then the white jazz artists that plow their trade in a black genre, music genre, are outselling their black counterparts. That's only because of the fact that the buying power is most of the time white people. And when they see their own doing that music genre quite well, then they put their money behind it. And that's nothing against those artists, whether it's jazz artists, rock artists, hip hop artists that are all white. It doesn't necessarily mean that they are doing it via cultural appropriation basis. The fact of the matter is they might have grown up with those households where those music were played all the time. And then they just watched them, they just gravitated towards it, and then they became they became good at it. And like I always say, like if you're going to shout out or show appreciation to the innovators or the inventors and the innovators, whatever that came before you, then like cool. You know, do what you must do. So yeah, I think with the passing of Johnny Clegg, and the like, there was just a lot of people online that was just saying like, nah, you know what, that's again cultural appropriation, blah 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 blah. At the end of the day, like we can't every time just we can't just play that narrative. The language needs to change. You know, it's like if it's more than just the artists themselves. At the end of the day, a lot of times it does come down to who's paying the money, and the money dictates that.
Well, I guess you could say the same in the same vein if you're saying that Hugh Masekela was a legend, jazz legend that passed away. If you talk about cultural appropriation, then you can say in the same vein that jazz was formulated or started in the States.
Yeah,
So he appropriated a style of music.
yeah,
Even though that's the thing, like things start in one country and spread across the world. Hip hop started there. When we started out dancing and sounding exactly like the Americans. Graffiti had the same style, and over time, people developed their own identity within
Exactly.
that style. So, same you'll have your African jazz, you'll have your French jazz, Canadian jazz, US, etc. So each place will have their own distinct feel and taste, but the genre itself was appropriated initially.
yeah. And that happens all over the world. Like I mean, for the last 2 months or so, I've been like heavily, um, like listening to crime music, from the UK, and that's like at 140 beats per minute. That guys are rapping over whatever, and they also like there was a point where the UK was also like You know, it was like just this influx of hip hop, whatever that they were just getting from the States and stuff like that. You know, a lot of the early guys adopted like the twang and stuff like that. With grime, when that started, it was like they just, because they had a heavy garage
Yeah.
culture and jungle and stuff like that, and they just started incorporating that, and they just thought like, nah, man, but we've got our own lingo, our own slang, whatever. You know, let's do it in our own own accents and stuff like that, and it's kind of very fashion awesome, man. Just to like, I mean, yeah, Karaim has been going on for a while. Maybe I'm hopping on it at a later time, whatever.
Some of the
But
links die vir my nou.
yeah, no, definitely. But I mean, it's not just them. Like this Sudanese Saudi rapper that I also I've discovered now recently. The same thing as well. It's like just these, like the guy's flow is something that a flow that I haven't heard
Yeah.
before, and maybe it's because of his language that he has to flow differently.
Yeah.
But it's refreshing, man. So yes, there's always we all appropriating culture, but what I like to see is like when you give your own spin to it.
Yeah.
That's the nice thing.
To put your own DNA on it.
Exactly.
It was like one of the, I think it was 2016, I was out in Umeå in Sweden with work. And we were in a dance studio, and the kids are busy rehearsing to the song. And it's like, oh fuck, wait, I know that chorus. I know that chorus from someone who was bugging me. I said, I know this thing. And then it came to me. It was from the anime Ghost in the Shell.
Oh, okay.
But it was a Swedish guy rapping on it, and it's like, yo, there was a transcended back. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. Didn't know what was being said because it's been in Swedish. But the rap, the cadence, whatever, and the fact that it's like associated with one of my favorite anime series, I was like, yo, dope. I like this, and I immediately followed the guy. So it just goes to show you, like, different languages, we don't always understand it. Like they say, music transcends all barriers.
Oh,
Yeah.
And I mean, if I look at some of the groups, or is it Orishas? Oh, there's like quite a few that like foreign rap groups,
Yeah.
and even like foreign music. I mean, growing up, we listened to Gypsy Kings and shit like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, yo, you don't know what the people are saying, but the music is moving you.
And on the cultural appropriation thing, is like you'll always hear like these guys on social media, won't mention names, but they will always go on like, yeah, but you know, they stole from us. They're like, yeah, those white guys are gonna steal and blah blah blah. That's the same narrative. But then there's same people, like let's take jazz for instance. So they'll mention like a Dave Brubeck or whatever. But then there's same people will listen to a Japanese jazz artist, and then that's fine. But how is that not also cultural appropriation? A lot of these like, I mean, average white band from the 70s, like if you put that on your take, like, and there's a black funk band, it's a bunch of white guys. I was like, at the end of the day, if you give respect to the art form,
Yeah.
no matter what color you are, I'm gonna listen to you. You know, because at the end of the day, like it's the art.
You know what the problem is? The problem is we can't compartmentalize our issues.
Yeah.
Like your issue is miskien met die wit supremacy type of thing.
Ja.
And now you're linking this in. But
you
daai
link-
braai het kyk hy kan mos nie help dat hy wit gebore is nie, man.
There we go.
En hy het miskien sy upbringing hier dan zijn so.
Like what did you say about Dan Corder? Oh,
Yeah. Exactly. It's the same thing, yeah.
Because okay, wait. I think like if you're talking about like in the in terms of music industry, the greatest appropriator to date, or like as far as I can think of, is Elvis.
Yeah.
Ek
Because
verstaan nog altyd weer. Whenever ek vir Elvis sien, dan lyk hy soos 'n braaf wat vir Elvis impersonate. For real, ek sê vir my baas, kwaad when ons go, hy sê he loves his Elvis, eh?
no.
Anyway, you were saying?
But I mean, like in terms of what Elvis did was like and a lot of groups back in the day where they literally took black artist songs, and the artist songs could not be released as people of color.
Yeah.
And they made the songs and made national hits. Like that kind of reappropriation takes a negative effect. Case in point, like in terms of bringing that locally, going back, fucking that movie was just released recently, Lion King. And in Lion King, there's a Wimbo.
I didn't see the first one, and I was not gonna.
No,
not gonna
but-
see the
but-
second
but-
one.
Oh, you
but
might
I
be the
mean,
only
if-
person on the
Nah, fuck.
If you're looking at Solomon's song,
Fight the power,
the guy who originally recorded that song,
Yeah.
The Lion Sleeps Tonight. It's like
Yeah,
that
he
bass
died-
family had
he
to
died,
fight for the royalties.
Oh no, definitely.
So I don't see like there's like definite inequalities in terms of appropriation. And I mean that song was sung the world over. It's fucking every person, so to say.
I mean, besides the fact that,
Knows the song.
yeah, but besides the fact that that song played in the movie, there were theater productions done like,
Yeah.
world over. That song got sung there. So he, yeah, he,
No, but-
he should have made a lot of money.
This,
Yeah.
and the quiet part, this exact same movie that features this song that was appropriated, that movie is an appropriation of Kimber the White Lion, which is a Japanese production. Instead of suing Disney when they brought out The Lion King, they said, no, that's a good adaptation. But I don't know why they took that route if they were being diplomatic, but they could have been sued because that series we watched as a light on TV, actually, Kimber the White Lion. And that was obviously dubbed. But when Lion King came out, I was like, yo,
I
look at
can't
all the
remember. I
similarities.
must go back now to
Right,
the
for
archives.
YouTube it. Once you see that, and now you see like it depends on how much money you have.
Yeah.
If you can appropriate something, if somebody wants to sue you, you just gooi it with lawyers.
Yeah.
It's like you can stall them all the time. It's like, nah, this won't be released until you've done this.
I think when like cultural appropriation stands its ground when you literally take something and repackage and sell it. So you take the Sprite bottle, repackage, sell, yeah, and then you make money off it, but not the original
The
person.
original band.
That's fine. But when you have practitioners in a certain genre and they just doing that genre, you can't necessarily pin cultural appropriation to that because they not repackaging the shit, and then unless it is like the Elvis what's the name, like the Elvis scenario, then yes, that did make sense then. So are we gonna go on to the top 50, or are we still busy
No,
with
no,
the
we
with,
can-
with the
we can do-
Antwoord? Because at what's the name also that fake sexual assault, the Whitney Houston crack war thing. I don't know, man. There comes a point like the fake sexual assault videos. You said it was 2012, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, earlier on. I'm starting to think. What am I starting to think? Because their whole career has been based on trolling, on the shock value and stuff like that. So this should be nothing new, but it seems like that's all the Antwoord is all about. Is like there's no substance, man. There's like literally no substance.
I was checking. There's a docu on YouTube where it shows Wadina. So yes, the band was an answer to Cypress Hill, Evergreen or something like that.
Yeah.
That was in the 90s, late 90s, and then
yeah.
it went to Max Normal.
Yeah, that's normal. Yeah.
And then, but die braat skills, dude.
Look, no.
Kyk jy dude, maar ek het nooit geweet sy history eintlik reg geken nie, maar toe nou hy check ek nou al die snippet wat hulle speel en hoe hy Sarah begin te gewerk het op die persoon is. That takes skill, eh? That takes like a certain mind, certain artistic mind. And hulle videos is kyk jy dude, I personally like the videos. There's something else with it, so it's not. Ja, even die nuwe ene wat dinge is op wat hy net feature op wat Jolandi skiet. It's dope, dude.
Look, the thing
Dope
is,
video.
the guy is
Oh,
okay.
the one shot with the ocean view one.
What is it?
Don't take me for a push.
Yeah,
That one.
that's
Look,
dope.
the guy's got a creative mind. Like I mean, Max Normal, his rhyming was dope. No
Yeah.
two ways about it. It was dope rhyming.
But that was done predominantly English.
Yeah, predominantly English. Then what's the constructors, the way they like to be so forward thinking in the packaging, like the packaging of the CD was like it looked like a book, man. It was like the amount of money they put into to printing and pricing of that product was like obviously a lot of money to go into that, but I think it was even Cybot, the constructors. But anyway, the just to be so forward thinking at that time with your presentation, like he was dope. Yeah, it's just like with I asked myself the question, like, with like calling Whitney Houston a crack whore and all this stuff, whatever. Like, when you start running out of things to shock people with, what then?
Yeah, because for
I would prefer nudity.
okay, but Yolanda doesn't have much to like.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Each their own. Each their own.
for me, it just seems like like you said, it's like they're running out of stuff to do to like gain more traction or to maintain a certain. Because remember, in today's day and age, it's like you can't take breaks like Michael Jackson took breaks in terms of releasing albums.
Yeah.
You need to stay relevant constantly. So for me, it's like to trying to generate drama and drama and drama, just to remain, because that's what the public feeds off. It's like that kind of energy. Whether all these new allegations or released background footage and discussions between the whole Jeanne saga, the saga with the guys are releasing it has all their footage and backstage stuff. That makes me wonder, is this actual shit or is it just done to generate more publicity?
Exactly.
Because I mean, this is supposed to be the last album that they're dropping, which is also the collaboration between the Cape Town artists,
Yeah.
G-Boy and
Yeah.
Slaghuister. And I think now they're even talking about involving Papa Grime and what's the other dude from Outby? Mr. Grip.
Okay.
So like to do a collective like that to tour the country. So we'll see what happens, but I'm a bit too minded in terms of
No, I hope to do it.
No.
But I hope the artist gets.
Yeah.
that's my only concern is like to make sure that the brothers are not
And they don't really
exploited.
they don't really perform in South Africa.
Uh-uh.
No.
not much because the market is international. I mean they've been playing now. They did a major European tour, and I think they're heading to the States next to do a stateside tour.
But aren't they living in the States as well? Or
Well, it's
maybe-
between because they're currently in Sea Point now.
Oh, okay. Did we touch on the N-word, the use of it?
Yeah, we did a bit
Yeah.
because like when they
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the
yeah,
stage
yeah,
performance.
yeah. Yeah.
I have this thing where I think it's wrong for you to use the N word because for me the N word means for colleague. I can
Yeah.
say it whatever, but I'm not the one that was victimized by that word.
Exactly.
Also, word obviously was the H word. I used to hate that word. Toe ek gewerk het by 'n spot, dan gebruik jy ons wat ons se woorde. Dude, I used to flip jong tot my braaf my gesê, dude, hoe gaan dit doen aan jouself? Sy gee vir hulle die ammo man. You know what I'm saying?
Ja.
So gee die mense, hy gee dan mense dan vir jou die nommer, gee die mense, hy het soos hy gesê het, gee hulle die verkeerde nommer. Hulle so en toe leer nou seker nogal dit is nogal reg. Maak sy trappe op en dan dis wat ek gedoen het met hulle. Maak sy trappe op 'n ding. Dan druk hulle op daai en dan wie jy must dit voorkom in my te doen, you know what I'm saying? Maar hulle dink in die meantime dink hulle they get you down, but actually they're not. But on the other hand, if the word is bad,
Yeah.
why can some people say it? Why can some people make a sound with their mouth and other people can't? Because
Yeah.
also gebruik jy away your edge of away your K.
Yeah.
It's just wrong. But yet, in the States, they feel en ek en JP het nogal toe ons in Haag was dit nou. Ek kan onthou ons was in Connecticut. Ons het 2 weke in die tour. Toe was iemand sê maar in twee black ouens van mekaar. Sê dude, finally we get to hear it. So what is it so common? But then again, we didn't go really into the wood that much type of thing. We were shouted also.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I just feel they're doing themselves a disservice with using that word.
Yeah.
I think what's them when African Americans use it, I think they like we mentioned, they use it like in endearment or towards your friend or whatever. So if you're not in your friendship circle, whatever, you're not gonna hear an African American tell another African American like yo my nigga whatever, or yo my in. I should just said the word now. Sorry, but yeah, you're not gonna hear that. You're gonna basically just hear normal talking. It's like when you are in your close knit circles
amongst the brass or whatever.
then you hear it. And I think they've changed the so-called polarity of the word itself to not be derogatory when they're using it among themselves. But that doesn't mean that anybody else can use it.
Yeah.
No, but here's the thing. Here's the kicker. Wat zijn naam? Kendrick Lamar. Hij roept die witgoes op bij zijn performance en hij zei, right, you're gonna rap with me. En hier zei de N-woord, right? En hij raakt kwaad en zei, you had one word to not say whatever, right?
Ja.
Dan is er Shan van. Achterna beginnen te rap, die braat een video van in die crowd, right? Hier, die crowd zei allemaal die N-woord naar hij, but then it's okay. So, what I'm saying is, I understand that you've changed the power of the word. It's now it's the A, not the ER.
Yeah.
But you're making it funky, man. Zij maken het quiet. Zij maken het like
Glamorizing
quiet.
it.
You know what I'm saying? So dat kan zijn misschien mensen blij, maar ze er is niet. You know what I'm saying?
So either use it or don't use it. So that's
Yeah. I'm saying is South Africa, they in that regard, we've shown them how to do it, man. We've made it kikkie as verkeerd. Het gebeurt van een bra wat nou 200,000 moet betalen. Ne?
Yeah, Adam, whatever.
Adams, whatever.
Yeah.
Rather I would say our way is better with doing it, man.
Yeah.
Than the States.
Heavy penalties
No,
one
what's
time.
the, I think, was it on
So they shouldn't ban everybody from saying it.
Everybody from saying it.
Yeah.
I think like
If you want unity.
no, if you want unity, like I think it was on Soy in the morning. We had was it Casper? We had AKA one of the two, and I think it was Casper. It was Casper, yeah. And then he asked about like the use of the N word in Africa. And then Casper said like, look, we learned from you guys. You guys were using it. We also using it, but it means nothing here by us. So obviously he gave the K word and he told them, okay, this is what they use here, blah blah blah. But we use the N word here because it doesn't have any power.
Yeah, it doesn't resonate.
Yeah, it doesn't resonate with us. And we also just use it as a term of endearment. But yeah, that's
But if his argument is it doesn't mean the N word doesn't mean anything here, but why are we editing it out for our radio versions? It does mean something here, but us.
I don't think it doesn't have a derogatory term here by us as if I mention it to you.
Yeah, definitely. But on radio and
but on
TV
radio
and stuff like that.
because universally it's still a derogatory term. But also is that not just the radio edits that's coming from the States? Or do you mean like when a South African artist uses the term as well?
It still needs to be taken out.
Yeah.
And rightly so.
I think it could be the reason why they take it out is because you never know when you have a foreigner in our shores. Listen, and also another thing is as well is the radio stations. Are they not on the internet as well? You can access it on the internet.
Definitely.
So then
It's
obviously
a global-
the states
it's
could definitely also access the feed, and yeah, so that has to be edited out as well. So that's that. The top 50. We're gonna go on to the top 50.
Yeah, we still have time.
Yeah. So. Yeah. So then, I think it was last week or the week before. Something was floating around with a top 50 rappers of all time list, and then I see now South Africa. We also have a top 50 South African rappers of all time list. It's kind of debatable.
Very polarizing list.
Can I just say something? And I honestly do not give a fuck about that. Ek is seker maar net die hip-hop genoeg, hè, but I could not give a single fuck about that list. Whose list is it, by the way?
Don't know.
We have no idea.
We don't know who's the
Because my first reaction to that was like, I think it might be a generation gap. So the person mightn't necessarily be or know the original foundation of SA hip hop.
Yeah.
So they might need to go back to that, and also it's a more recent list of artists. So there are a couple of the older cats mentioned in there.
Yeah.
Some of the
Which-
pioneers or second generation.
Which one are you talking about now? The essay one?
The essay list, yeah. Because I can't even keep track with the international stuff. It's like there's just too much.
The thing is, it's relative, man. To
Yeah.
who you think ik kan een dom rapper van doen. Wat niemand like ze, maar ik is nou net een...
Look, I mean,
You know what I'm saying? Ik like ze, maar dan zal ik voor meeste zijn.
yeah, like to the lightness nowadays, people like XXX Tentacion and all these other lighties, whatever, they will be like the shit to them. They will be the greatest of all time, you know, because they never listened to a Rakim, or they never listened to a Ice Cube, or they never listened to DMX or Jay-Z or whoever. So to them it's like, nah, that's the greatest of all time. At least like, relative to the times. Um, at the end of the day, man, like it's always going to be debatable.
One thing, okay, ik kan ook klaar zeggen, I don't give a fuck. But there's one thing that I would say if I was to give a fuck.
Yeah.
Waar de fuck kan je nou verdammen? Dat is een 50 cent te doen.
Ja,
Bij Youngster. Nou, daar ga ik het nogal personal van doen.
Ja.
You know what I'm saying? No, niet personal van but I'll have a debate on that. Die andere ones, niet dat ik de music vetter ken, but ik... Kop en kop is, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Like, if you're gonna make a list of greatest whatever, there has to be impact. Impact is a definite. Now, if you look at the essay ones, like I can understand why Pro is at number one.
Ja, ik ken hem nogal.
Wait. I'm looking
Is
now.
that pro kid or pro verb?
Yeah, I was now gonna ask like, where's Pro
Is het
verb?
producer?
And then where is oh, there's Pro Verb at 23 only. No, he's there. So that
Okay.
number one Pro then would be Pro Kid. He made an impact. Whether he's number one, well, that's debatable. Questa made an impact. AKA, no matter what you want to say about him, he made an impact. Nasty C, yeah, okay, he's making an impact.
Then 50% of the list I don't even know.
Kulitana made an impact, yeah.
Pitch Black Afro.
What was the one album only? KO, yeah. But now,
Isn't it Pitch Black Afro in the monk? Kill his wife or something like that?
sure, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
I know he was in the news for something, yeah.
Yeah.
But now you look at there's a whole lot of names on this list that haven't made impacts yet. And I can't.
Dude, hoe kan je Stokie T weten dat hij braaf zo dope doet?
Exactly. Like Stogie T, Toomey of the volume. Definitely be higher than 14. Shoma Josie, yeah, she won or won an award now. But like people like Double HP should be higher because his impact was it's because of Double HP that people like Casper is where they're at now and stuff like that. So this list is like there's probably there's a lot of the right people are supposed to be on this top 50, but in the incorrect positions. Like Zab's at 31, like nah, really.
Like nou was absoluut.
But
then again, I'm not really
Cypher?
expert to say.
who?
Cypher, is it that
No.
TV actor turned MC?
Yeah, no. Even Mr. Selwyn, like, I mean, he should be higher. I know he's not that active at the moment, but he should be higher. Youngster, just for the amount of work that they put in, like, he should be way higher.
He's
Snares,
definitely higher than Shane Eagle. Sorry. But
yeah, exactly. I mean, Snares D, no matter what they want to say about him, like, he was also at the forefront of Joburg, rap for a while.
En Slikker, dan willen Slikker, hij lijkt zo om.
Slicker is nice and whatever. I still think Slicker was always the strongest out of that camp.
Squatter.
So yeah, him as well. Provo was way too low. 23, like nah.
You want to put Casper like, isn't Casper like one of the highest grossing SA rappers? They put him at 20.
Yeah.
So yeah,
because-
whoever's
Mine-
list is
mine
like
is Roma.
very squeezed.
Because this is not just based on skill. This is based on like everything, like basically, you know, your selling ability and all that stuff. It's not just about skill, but yeah, that's just not on par.
Ik heb te veel gezegd voor iemand wat die fuck op ging.
Like I mean, even
Nee,
the ones
nee,
the problem that I found with I don't know if you guys have the list for the international ones. I'll just go through the top 20 as Jay-Z, then Nas, then Joe Budden, Styles P, Black Thought, Fabulous, Jadakiss, Biggie, at number 8, Ghostface, Kendrick Lamar, Beanie Siegel, Rakim, Pusha T, Redman, Tupac, Scarface, Andre 3000, Common, J. Cole, Lupe Fiasco. That's the top 20.
Wait, is Is Pusha T above Redman?
Yeah. Eminem is only at 28. Method Man is 27.
What?
Um, yeah. My thing is, the problem that I had with this list, when I saw it, doesn't matter where anybody was, I was like, where's the female MCs? Where's MC Light? Where's Watson? Where's Queen Latifah?
So ik heb
Where-
je gefrit van ons Wednesday today.
Oh yeah, this shout out all the ladies
Shout
out
out to
there.
all the women, yeah, the queens out there. Nah, it was like even like now, like where's we can say what we want to. She had she had a run, she had like a good, and she's still busy. Like where's Nicki Minaj? Where's
Cardi B.
Where's Cardi B's writer? Where's that ghostwriter?
where's Lauren Hill?
Dude,
Where is Rhapsody? Where is like
MC Lights.
MC Light? No man, where's Jean Grey? There's like
aware.
you know, there's
Yellow
there's a
MC.
lot of dope female MCs that's just not done here. So nah, it's I don't know.
Foxy Brown.
I think I think when it comes to these lists, I rather have like a bunch of writers, editors, whatever, compile a list for a magazine or whatever, whether it's rap pages or double XL or whatever. Have 5 of them give their top 20 or top 50 what's and then they
Yeah,
can
then you do a
compile it.
compilation.
Yeah, that's the best way. This is just somebody that sucked it out of their thumb.
Yes.
Yes,
Don't
whatever.
be
Yeah,
putting fingers in asses now.
yeah. Yeah, no, Andre 3000 at number 17.
Where's B-Boy then?
Big Boy was at number 32. Cool J Rap at number 31.
Is T.I. featured in there?
T.I. is 24. Big Pun at number 44.
Nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah, no, that's about it. That's about it.
Where are we on time wise?
Now looking at 30
Uh,
minutes chillies.
Something like that. Anyway, people, I think
Keep
Yeah.
it short.
yeah.
So we won't be assaulting your earbuds and eyeballs too much
Yeah.
this time around.
What we would like to know is for our listeners out there, if you guys can maybe just put it either on Facebook or in the YouTube comment section. Let us know if you like it to be this long, if you want it to be shorter, if you want to have snippets of the podcast, like the different parts per episode. Let us know. We want to deliver the best podcast we can to you guys. And yeah, not everybody has the same attention span. Not
Or
everybody
data plan.
or data plan that as well. So
Free
yeah,
Wi-Fi.
just to sum up the today's topics, we discussed a little bit of the shutdown that happened yesterday in Cape Town with the backyard dwellers and just people looking for housing and land and stuff like that. We discussed the Antwoord, the use of the N-word. Can it be used by them? Can it not be used? And
Cultural
also
appropriation.
cultural appropriation as well, with Johnny Clegg passing away, and not just Johnny Clegg, but all other white artists. Is it cultural appropriation, or is it just are they just doing it because they love it? And then, yeah, the top 50 greatest rappers of SA and internationally. Was it valid? Does it make sense? Anyway,
Right?
from the Babylonians,
Peace.
peace out.